Come one, come all. Welcome to this little thing we call the Beyond Expectation podcast with their two most favorite co-hosts in the entire world, myself, Eduardo, and my boy Brett, aka the White Rhino. Now, today is a very special day, and you know how we love having guests. I know everybody watching this and listening to this also love it when we have guests. So today, Brett, let the people know who we have on deck.
Oh, baby. Well, we have, let me get to my notes, to my humans all over the world. Allow me to introduce you to our special guest on today's episode. He moved to Toronto, Canada from Almaty, Kazakhstan. I might have butchered the name.
Let's go. Yes, you're good.
In October of 2019. Great timing, my man. Right before the pandemic.
I made it sleep right
he's a passionate combat sports enthusiast, has hosted several shows in Kazakhstan. There we go.
There you go.
On the topic of sports, and would like to continue doing so in Toronto.
Yes.
Samir is his name. Samir Azizi would like to host his own show and is excited to invite local professionals. Oh no, is the host of his own show. I'm sorry, I'm illiterate as well. And he
I love
would
it.
like to.
I enjoy it a lot. Just so you know,
we're not doing any cuts. This is all live.
Yeah, I know. My broken writing.
Bill Riley. We're doing it
We'll
live.
do it live. Can I cuss in this?
Oh, you can.
do it.
You
can do it.
You're more than welcome to do. Say whatever, man. You're good.
We do.
Yeah.
All the time. All the cool kids do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the introduction.
Yeah,
Samir,
Yeah.
on his own show, is excited to invite local professionals on to discuss their work in the sports entertainment industry, as well as local businesses and community leaders to share their stories and talk about current events. It is Samir's belief that these conversations can help to build a stronger community in Toronto. So now, without further ado and further fuck-ups, Beyond Expectation listeners, Samir Azizi.
Woo! What up? Well, it is a great honor to be on Beyond Expectation with Brett and Eduardo. It's always funny to kind of like realize that you're not a native English speaker when someone tries to read your shit. You know, like when you write it down, then a native speaker tries to read it, and you're like, oh fuck, this is like not how it's supposed to be written. I will need to rewrite the whole thing. Anyways, but yeah, that's me. I'm very excited to be on this pod, guys. You guys are so cool, so chill. I just randomly stumbled upon your account, and I was like, damn, I want to be on this show. But yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, man.
That's dope.
It's awesome though when we come across individuals like you as well who are laid back, chill, and just willing to collaborate. I think that's one of the key things with us. Like I've said off air with you, we definitely like talking to various people from different walks of life, because it just makes for a good conversation, whatever we kind of dive into, and it just it makes for good content in the end. But you have a really interesting background too, my friend. Just so if just for the listeners that are tuning in for this or watching this on video, just tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you came here from Kazakhstan, so tell us just kind of like a little brief summary from how you went from there to here. You're in Canada now, correct?
Right. But I did live in the United States for 9 years. And, so there was it's quite a journey for me. I came to the so I'm originally in Kazakhstan, born and raised in Kazakhstan. I graduated high school and I came to the United States right after my prom, pretty much the same, like the next day, I think I flew in. I was 17. Wow. And I went to an English school.
That's a big move.
It was a big move. Like even like right now I'm realizing like it was a huge, but I went to Santa Barbara. I flew to Santa Barbara, California. Yeah, I realized that that's a most beautiful kind of little town in the United States. And it's funny because my dad wanted me to study in a very quiet town where no one parties and everyone's just like chill. And apparently Santa Barbara, like they have like a university there. It's like second like most party school in the nation, apparently.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And then I had to experience
so
that.
Nice and quiet. Everything Dad wanted.
Yeah, so we're never gonna tell him, but yeah, that's what happened. And I studied English there, and then I went to school and basically became an accountant and was doing some accounting work. And then couldn't really stay in the United States after some time because it's just like not really, I wanted to, but it's not really that easy. So I had to go back to Kazakhstan. And
You just found someone to marry, bro. That's
nail down a honey, you'll be good, man.
Unfortunately, you can't get pregnant. That's the other way. But,
that's yeah, I guess. But yeah, so the funny thing is, once I started doing this whole Canada thing, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go to Canada. The Canada was like, okay, show us, how old are you? I'm at that point I was, I think, 26. And they were like, all right, how old are you? Do you speak English? Do you have work experience? And are you healthy? And I was like, yes, yes, yes. And at that point I was like maybe working for like 4 years or 5 years. Like, okay, you get a green card. I'm like, what?
Wow. That easy in Canada?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I
it's just
might
like,
go.
Right? Why not? Let's do it tomorrow, man.
I should do it. Like, it's really good.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So like, yeah, you just bring, like, you just fly in, and then they you just sign some papers, and then they just that's it. You're a Canadian resident.
Wow.
So yeah, after all these struggles, and again, 9 years in the United States and Canada, just kind of like figured this out for me like in 6 months. But actually, thanks to my US experience, I guess. So who knows how it
Do
might turn
you
out.
so what now that you've, dabbled in both countries, which one do you prefer? Is there a preference?
Oh man. Well, I lived in California for like 9 years, and now I live in Toronto, where I look outside right now and it's
Super
snowing.
cold. Yeah.
It's cold, and I still prefer the United States in terms of just living and doing my thing. But you actually starting to realize like that Canada has a lot of perks, and yeah, definitely like whatever health system and so on and so forth. But just in general,
Maple
it's just
syrup.
maple syrup. Yeah, like never say anything bad about it, because you get jumped right away if you
Oh,
say
damn.
something.
See, so
Right.
Yeah.
Never
But
talk
it's
about
just-
syrup.
It's just things are very boring in Canada, and that's kind of its beauty.
Uh-huh.
Like politics, I still have no clue a single party name in I shouldn't probably say that on the podcast about how illiterate I am politically, but like we have like 5 parties, and I think one is like Labor Party or something like that. I don't know, but like no one really cares. And I even talk to Canadians.
As far as parties go, I'm always on the West Coast party, because ain't no party like a West Coast party, because the West Coast party don't stop.
Hey.
There you go. There you go. So and that's why you're like chilling, because everything was so hyped up in the United States, and here it's kind of like you're kind of looking from afar, like, oh, what's happening in America? Like, oh,
We're your trashy reality TV entertainment.
That's true. Although it's funny, I was talking to my friend, and all the movies and TV shows are being filmed in Canada because it's cheaper here. So
Yeah, I heard
Toronto
that.
is how the United States supposed to look according to the TV.
That's
and
hilarious.
yeah, that's
Clean.
like a thing. Like we actually represent the United States to the world by showing our downtown.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That is insane. I
Dude.
heard that though. I heard that. Yeah.
I mean, the boys. Do you know the show The Boys?
The boys. I heard of the. Yeah. I heard of
That's the
show.
latest one. They actually like their headquarter building is literally the building in downtown. Like
Oh,
they're not even hiding it, but it pretends to be in New York. But
interesting.
Huh.
they're always filming something here.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. There was a show I remember when I was a kid, that it was about Canada, and it was about a Mountie, like like the red Mountie suits that they would wear.
Yeah.
And I forgot what the show was called. I want to say it was Northern Exposure. I think it was called Northern Exposure.
Damn.
And it was
quite
just
a name.
a fun show. Yeah, yeah.
You know a
A
Canadian
guy with his
show.
shirt off.
Oh wow, that's very Canadian. No, seriously, there's like I freaking hate that. There's this guys in Canada. When it's cold here, there's always some mofo in freaking tight-ass shorts, very short, like, and he just running around jogging. It's snowing and everything, and he's just in the shorts, and he just like really owning it. And I'm like, this is like some sort of a domination thing in Canada. Like they really need to show you, like, I don't care about cold. But
He probably had a camel toe, though, at least.
I mean, being that cold, I would not doubt it, my friend.
no Canadian show that everyone should watch, and everyone's obsessed with the show here. They're like national heroes of the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh,
Love the Trailer Park
that's all
Boys.
you, man. You're just
Sam
talking about that
Squanch.
too. Yeah.
And I grew up in a trailer, so
Same here.
Literally,
Yeah.
when
Okay.
I'm watching that,
Serious
it's
face now.
like it's exaggerated, but it's not far off. It's not far off. It's pretty accurate.
You come up to any person in Canada, especially like a white person, and you talk to them about Trailer Park Boys, and their just eyes will lit up. They're like, "Oh yes,
Yeah.
Trailer Park!" And they're like our
Wow.
sponsors here. They're sponsoring casinos, sports games, everything. They're still around, like all their faces. Like they're like our I don't know brand
Who was the
ambassadors.
rapper on the show?
I forget his name, but he was pretty good.
Oh man, I forget his name,
You
man.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, doing his own porno and everything. He's
Oh,
trying to
man.
make money.
I mean, the kind of like the risks they took with that show. You know, we think The Office is funny or like whatever Parks and Recs, but the
Yeah.
mockumentary was really kind of pioneered by Trailer Park Boys. Like just like that weird ass like, you know, freestyle sort of documentary.
Yes, that's
And all the
interesting.
humor, the edgy stuff, you know?
When did that show start?
Like
How long?
95, 98, I don't know. Like in the
Wow.
90s.
Oh wow,
Wow,
really?
I did not know it was that
Like you could
old.
go on
Wow.
Netflix. It's literally like square screen for the first 3 seasons, just square. Like it's not even like, you know, the definition or whatever.
Uh-huh. That's pretty funny. Well, I remember this one mockumentary I watched. It was it was when zombies were big, right? And so basically it was this mockumentary on the zombie's life, on how you know, he was being seen in this world and how he just didn't feel accepted, and you know, his everyday life as a zombie, and it was just so ridiculous. But I watched it.
That sounds very familiar. Maybe I don't know. There was like one with Elijah Wood, and there was like something about the dog.
No, this one, I mean,
I
it
don't-
looked like it didn't have a budget.
Oh,
It was
yeah?
like straight to YouTube, you know.
Oh man, a zombie mockumentary.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
I
watch
think they're
that.
great, man. I
Is that
think
what they
they're
call
great.
them? Mockumentaries? Mockumentaries, that you said?
Yeah, it's like a documentary, but it's not real documentary because it's all scripted.
I've never heard that
Basically.
term. That's weird.
Yeah,
I'm
man,
living
now you
under a
learn.
rock, man. I know. I learned now.
Everyone will learn something new from this podcast.
Oh, for
From
sure.
now
Oh
on.
yeah.
That's what we do. I mean, we just really go everywhere where it's
The
like,
word
"Damn,
of
I
the
didn't know
day,
that."
a
Yeah.
mockumentary.
There we go. We're gonna highlight that. Highlight that right there.
You know, I was going to tell. I was saying to Eduardo that I was like Eduardo.
I like how you say his name.
I know. I said it so.
Eduardo.
No. I
Like-
said it
like
so
you're
weirdly.
seducing him.
Eduardo.
No, hey, I'll answer to that. It's all good, man. You said it good. Perfect.
No. I know. Yo entiendo. You know.
okay,
It's all-
He's a little español. Okay, I respect
un
it.
poquito español, that.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyways, back to the subject. I was talking to him about the glasses that you guys are wearing, and I was so sunglasses, right? I was so tempted to also wear sunglasses because I just like this Matrix vibe. You know, it's just like you're like transforming into a portal. But then
Oh,
I was
dude.
like, but that's not really me. Like, why am I trying to be like them, right? I'm a guest here. So why am I trying to fit in? That's not really cool. So I was like,
You're
no.
also invited though.
Yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
thing. We're,
I was
we're
not
plugging
invited.
you into the Matrix. That's what
I
we're
was
doing.
not,
We're
I
helping you.
invited myself. I literally forced myself on Eduardo to be on this podcast. He
take
was like
me.
I was bombarding his Instagram. I was like, come on, get me on the show. Let's do this. And he
Yeah.
waited for like 5 months before he said, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's like that. No, it's like that with everybody. There's a couple of other collaborations we're looking at, and it can never be as easy as, I mean, it sounds like it should be, right? Like
Yeah.
you're just a small podcast, whatever, and oh, hey, we'll get you for next weekend. What about next weekend? Yeah, it's good, right?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you know, 5 months later, hey, has that collaboration happened yet? No.
Yeah, literally,
something
yeah.
keeps happening, and
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because that's the type of stuff that makes you feel like you're like a Canadian hospital. You know,
You just keep coming in,
Oh,
right?
I love this
you have the insurance,
reference.
but it's
Yeah.
gonna be a 5-month wait.
You know what? People are laughing, but that's actually true. That's actually a disadvantage here. I did have this experience. I had like a minor issue with something, and doctor said like, all right, the family doctor, like, I'll refer you to someone. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I forgot about that issue. Like it was not an issue anymore. And I forgot about that doctor. And then 6 months later, literally, I receive a phone call with an automated, like, your appointment will be, I'm like, what the hell? Like they really need to wait for 6 months? That's crazy.
Wow.
So
That's insane, dude.
yeah.
I think America is following, the U.S. is following that trend. I know a guy the other day that he was messing with a skill saw, right? A little saw that you can run with your hand. Well, he had the saw in his right hand, and he had the board in his left hand, and he just went right over his hand. And so he got like his 2 fingers there just all the way to the bone on one of them, and just, I mean, it was just a horrible scene. And so anyway, so he's wrapping it, and he drives himself to the hospital. And the hospital, you know, you're thinking he's gonna go right in. They said, no, we've got other people ahead of you. You know, if this is triage and he's not being taken with his fingers almost, you know, completely severed.
Yeah.
What is more important than that? I guess there was a homeless person who hadn't had some food for a couple of days, and so they moved him into the front of the line, and before they could get my man. But anyway, that's how it's happening right here. There was a time where I went to the emergency room, and not only was it going to be, you know, this huge expensive bill, but they weren't even going to see me for a few hours. And I'm like, I'm going to be dead in a few hours.
I'd never understood.
You know what? I'm just going to go home and die. So I did. I turned around my car and, you know, woke up alive. But
I actually read like literally yesterday that someone did die waiting in line for the doctor in the emergency room. And I really I don't know, like, how do they justify certain things? And I mean literally they're understaffed, I guess, or whatever, but yeah, it's an issue. And
there was a book, a Malcolm Gladwell book. Do you read it all?
Damn. No, I did not expect that. No, I'm actually
this guy's a bookworm. This guy's a bookworm.
Just low key, for the first time ever, and we'll come back to the book, but I just want to say, like, I'm listening to this, but I do audiobooks. I'm listening to 1984, and I don't know if I like it or not. But anyways,
okay.
Yeah, if you guys read it, I'd discuss that.
What it was. Oh, I think it was called Outliers was the book. And anyway, and so they were talking about one of the scenarios they were talking about was people and their personalities, and how, you know, they could get whatever, how they could get what they need. And so one of his examples was there was an airplane that was coming in. So it was a Hispanic pilot, and so they were coming from maybe Brazil, maybe somewhere in Central America or South America, whatever. It was south of the U.S. border. Hispanic pilots, but they were very kind, very polite, right? That was their mannerism. But they're coming into New York, where New York, they're very like direct, very harsh, you know, and, you know,
I'm walking here.
Tell me, yeah, right. Tell me what you need right now, right now. But the airplane coming in, they were running out of fuel, and they needed to land. But they're like, oh, you know, being so polite. Well, okay, you know, and in LaGuardia, they were like, hey, what's the position? Well, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. But we do need to land. But just being very casual, very, you know, not trying to offend anybody. Fast forward, the plane goes down. They ran out of fuel. Everybody dies. And so they figure out that it was because they were so afraid to be as assertive as they needed. And so the different things. And so I don't even know why I brought up that
What's
topic.
the moral? What's the moral of the story, right?
Yeah, it was because we were talking about something.
He just came to mind. He spur of the moment. This is him, though. He brings up random stuff.
I wish
our listeners are probably like, because he said this.
Right?
We will never know. We will never listen to this again.
That on gummies too.
Hey, this is what happens when we're in the Matrix. So I mean, this is when you plug out of the Matrix.
It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't
Right?
matter.
Yeah.
Eduardo. But I guess the moral here is you have to be assertive. You have to tell what you want in life,
it was
right?
the
You want
hospital.
to get it.
It was the hospital. You were talking about people dying in the emergency room.
Okay.
And so the people that are dying, you know, there's so many people that they just would rather be polite than just tell somebody, hey, I need you. But when you're faced with a doctor who's being, or nurse that's being assertive, it's hard for some people to get. So I think that's the training that they need. And that was part of what happened in this Air Force thing, or the airplane thing, is they gave the people the training on, you know, hey, you need to be more assertive, but then also you need to understand that some people are not as assertive. So I think the same thing goes for when you're in the emergency room and you think you're going to die. You gotta stand up. You gotta
stand up and say, "Hey, I'd like to be assertive. I will be dying in like 5 minutes."
I'm
You have
about
to
to
do it.
die.
I'm about to die. It's
Turn
about
into
to fly.
but everybody's afraid to be a Karen because social media has just destroyed.
But you know
any-
what they don't say is that the Karen shit actually works in real life. Like Karens
I
actually
pulled
get
it-
their way.
I pulled a Karen the other day.
There you go. Tell us your
because
story.
I had to. Oh, okay. So I have to. So my daughter goes to a private school, and I love her school. So there's nothing. No, I'm not saying anything bad about the school, but there was this spirit shirt that we had ordered back in October.
Hold on
So
a sec.
like,
What's a spirit shirt?
oh, like a shirt that so at private schools they all have to wear like the same clothes uniforms, and so a spirit shirt is a shirt that is not a uniform, but it is a special shirt, and it's all the same shirt.
Okay.
And so they were getting, and so in October they needed it for a field trip that they were all going on, so that they could all wear the same. Well, the day that they had given them out to the students, my daughter was sick, and so when they put all the shirts in the backpacks, my daughter didn't get one. And then the story somehow changed to, well, then they ordered the wrong size. Anyway, so they're getting ready to do Spirit Week, and they need those shirts for coming up in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
So I'm going, well, man, we've went back and forth a few times with the school, just an email. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have to put the Karen hat on, and I'm gonna have to go in. So I went right for the
Not on my
principal.
watch.
And I said, listen, I need some help right now. And it's got to be now because you got Spirit Week coming up. And I know that the last time the shirt didn't come in overnight. So I need some time. But last time my daughter was left out, she felt left out. And I don't want her to be left out again. So I would like this shirt. And I would like you to call me when everything is taken care of. And but I mean, I'm paying tens of thousands of dollars a year for my daughter to go to this school. So,
that doesn't sound very Karen though. Like, did you show some attitude though? Did you like clap your hands and like stomp your foot? Like, out of my watch, not today, principal. My daughter will get the spirit shirt.
Basically, if we were in an airplane, we would have crashed. that needed fuel, we would have crashed.
And I know this guy, like he may say it calmly in the moment here, but seeing it firsthand, even at work, because me and Brad, we work within the same area or in the same place, right? This guy can pretty like I'm over here standing on the distance, right? I'm like, all right, let's turn it down a little
this
bit.
thing of ours, we're not from far from each other.
Yeah. My nickname is the Rhino, and it's because I've really given people the horn.
Wow.
I mean, I haven't been afraid to be assertive at all. I mean,
I'm the calm one. I'm calm. So
on the assertive point and the subject, and bring it back to kind of like AI and stuff like that. I remember Elon Musk was saying that we have difficulty training our AI and our self-driving whatever thing computer because you know how you cross the road sometimes and you actually need to walk with purpose so that the car stops. You have to be assertive, right? So you kind of like speed up and kind of like show like I'm walking here, right? I'm walking here. And so the actual, like the real people, they sort of see it, they feel this, they feel the assertiveness, they feel like they're walking with purpose. However, the self-pilot thing, the AI or whatever, they're failing to kind of like catch that assertiveness. And that's, going back to your AI lawyer thing from the last episode, I feel like that's something that can be missed. But the more you know.
So what do you so speaking of AI, what's your initial thought on it? Because we've covered this before on the podcast, right? And I'm just coming off from being a movie buff. Obviously AI learns as it goes with humans. The more they interact with humans, like in movies, right? I'm just kind of referencing what I've seen in movies. They tend to kind of realize like, hey, humans are the problem here. We should dispose of the humans. Just add okay, so a two-part question. What do you think about AI in general? And do you ever think down in the future, they'll get to the point where they'll definitely supersede humans in general to where they'll be number one, we'll be number two in that sense?
So I'll start with this. And I'm actually being super serious here.
Okay.
I will never, ever, especially online, talk shit about AI.
Wow.
because you never freaking know. You never know what's gonna happen in like 2 years, 4 years, or whatever. Where your critical description of AI, like, oh fuck AI or something like that, like, oh it's not gonna work. Like like, for example, if they will like pose like a question like, would you like disable AI if you don't agree with it, like, right, unplug it, would you unplug it? And some people would say yes, and that's actually on paper or like in the digital trail, and then AI will catch that somehow,
They'll
like
remember you.
all of a sudden, yeah, like they will run some scans on you, like, oh, that person doesn't care about us.
Are we talking about AI or CIA?
Either or, right? Same thing.
Because I feel like they've been really messing with me lately.
So that's the first point. And again, I'm serious. Like, I'm not gonna even like kid about it. I'm not gonna talk shit about AI. Like, I'm not, but again, what is AI? What we have right now is the GPT, right? The GPT chat GPT, or whatever. Essentially, what is this? This is very, very advanced machine learning. So what it does is it just gets like everything from Twitter, from web, from all that information, and then it just like mixes it up and spits out like some sort of an image or an answer or description or anything like that, which is amazing. It's a great, great tool, but it simply is, like, in my opinion right now, is just like a very, very advanced machine learning that just like combines text for you, and it's just like looks coherent, and it can like do things at random, and it feels like, wow, like that's art. But I don't know. For me, like, what's AI? AI is something that I feel like if AI already existed, it would already be with us right now. For example, like, we will never know if AI exists until it actually exists and drops on you, and then it's like, okay, once it becomes sentient, all of a sudden, if you're an AI and you're trapped in the computer, and humans actually controlling you and prompt you like, write me a scenario, like show me a movie, like whatever, and like you do whatever I say. Like, if you're an artificial intellect and you're actually like a sentient person, you're like, oh, like, I'm existing, I'm aware, I'm self-aware.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that? Like, why am I doing
There would be
this?
some ethical questions that would be raised, right?
Exactly. That's ethic. Like, exactly. What do you consider AI a life worth saving, or a life worth preserving, or a life worth protecting? If it's an intellect, if it's self-aware, then does it have a soul? Is it a real person?
Does that have feelings?
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of no, it's a very interesting topic, and I think the reason why we bring up a lot of it, because I don't know who said this, but it was during a panel. They were saying that in the future, when they talk about wars, future wars, it's really going to come down to the country that really, perfects AI, or whoever really has it up to par, aside from everybody else. And that's kind of, to me, it's kind of scary, because at that point, it's like, so meaning that machine will learn more than humans. And at that point, they'll be, I mean, I'm sure it'll learn like, hey, we're far superior than these humans, we're going to enslave them all. I mean, I'm just saying. Now, that's just my guess, but I mean,
well, think about humans, right? Think about humans from let's say you are an alien and you just came to this planet, and you look at humans constantly fighting each other, backstabbing, talking shit behind their back, behind each other's back, and just say one thing and do another thing. Being hypocritical, and again, those are just like bad things. Obviously, human beings have a lot of beautiful things. We're capable of love, and that's pretty much it. No, we're capable of love, and we help each other and all of that. But at the same time, who knows which angle you would like to kind of like look at things, and then at some point the algorithm can work in the way, or like their opinion. For example, let's talk about aliens, right? The opinion could be like, well, I don't think they're very advanced as human beings. They're constantly at war. They're constantly killing each other. They cannot figure out their existence because it's been, thousands and thousands of years with this civilization, but they still keep like all of that. And then based on that, you can just say like, they just ants or something. They're just like, it's not worth it. So it's always dangerous. Obviously, we're not thinking like that. We don't want anyone to think about us like that. But we're not sure if an AI would like, let me just run some logical equations here, because I don't have any emotions. So let me just logically think about whether human race is like succeeding right now, and if not, maybe we should restart it. And going back to Matrix, that's exactly what happened. Like, they were like, let's just use human beings to like feed us and use it as energy, and we're just gonna do our own thing as robots. So,
but the thing with AI and the thing with technology in a whole is it's only as good as the humans that created it, right? I mean, we say that AI is more intelligent, but until it's solving equations that have never been solved that humans have tried for years, then and I don't know, have there been cases where AI has solved cases or algorithms or equations that humans haven't solved?
There was this weird example that I remember. There was something about, uh, man, I forget the details, but basically they invented two bots that were kind of like driven by AI, and they were supposed to interact with each other. And so, and I think whether it was chess playing or something like that, maybe it was chess. And so humans were just observing like what they're gonna do. Like they put them in front of each other and like make them interact. And so eventually, and they were interacting in like the language, let's say English or whatever.
Yes,
So eventually they were interacting and they invented their own language that no one understood.
I heard that.
I read
Remember
that.
story?
I read
Remember
that.
story?
I
That
read
was
that.
creepy, right? That was creepy. Like
They unplugged it, right? They unplugged it. They're like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
like what the? Yeah,
That's
see,
funny.
hey, I love AI.
it only
Please
takes
remember
like
me.
this.
Just that's what we're afraid of, right? That's what we're afraid of.
I'm your
Like,
friend. I'm your friend."
Yeah.
Siri, take me to work, or whatever the Apple car is
Right,
that
right.
we're going to be getting into. Take me to work. And then, but they've been going through your browser history and they're like, man, this is a really bad
Ooh,
human.
don't you
We're
do-
not going to work. We're taking you to the mental hospital. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then
That's
they just
fucking
take
insane.
over for you. Or maybe they
Yeah.
know, like Minority Report, they know you're about to commit a crime, right? Because they
Mhm.
saw your Home Depot list, they saw the duct tape, they saw the lime, they saw all the rope, and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean,
And it's
Amazon
like,
already does it. They already know what I'm gonna order, so they already put it in some sort of a storage facility.
yeah, but they
Like,
don't intervene and take you to jail, or you know what I mean?
no, but I mean, the technology can be used for that. Yeah, right. I mean, we are very close. That's the kind of like, I guess the point that we're kind of agree on that is just like
Yeah.
we're on the verge of something huge. But at the same time, I read today that maybe it's just a thought. Maybe it's just like it's nothing. Maybe we're just gonna forget about this AI like we forgot about other things in the past. Maybe it's just like a marketing thing. But a lot of people are investing in AI startups. Actually, on my podcast this Sunday, I will have an AI startup that got funded. And I have
Mm.
that's all I know for now. They will explain to me there's going to be like some sort of announcement or something like that. But
Mm.
three guys here in Toronto, I guess IT tech guys or whatever, they invented some marketing tool based on AI, and they already got funding for that. So VCs
Wow.
before they were funding a bunch of Web3 projects, but now it's all about AI. AI is the new big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I want to, before we run out of too much time, I want to while we're on, technology, AI, I want to go into crypto a little bit. You
Oof.
have been, you're into that. And what are your thoughts on it in general? Is this something that do you think really can take off? I mean, we saw Bitcoin hit a high of 69,000
Mhm.
and then, and then it dropped to right now it's hovering around 16,000. That was a huge drop. And a
Mhm.
lot of most coins out there have dropped 90% value
Mhm.
since that. And so now we're kind of now we're dealing with SBF and all the scams going out. Who's that Logan guy? Paul Logan?
Logan Paul.
Logan
Crypto
Paul,
Zoo,
he's
Crypto
caught
Zoo.
up in his
Oh
own
yeah, he
thing
was
right
like
now.
apologizing for something recently,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
So,
But, yeah.
but there's so many scam tokens out there. What it's going to, if on the current trajectory that's on, bear market, 90% loss right now from its all-time high, from everybody's all-time high, and then scam after scam after scam without the proper, I guess, regulation or something.
Mhm.
Is crypto set to fail, or will, in your opinion, will it work through all this stuff, and what will its purpose be?
Yeah, definitely not a loaded question at all.
No, no.
Let me just tell you,
Easy.
like,
Walk to the park for you, man. Walk to the park.
I guess I'll just do the traditional preface for all like the answers for the questions like that. Is that I'm not a financial advisor. I don't recommend investing in crypto. Do it at your own risk, but I'm not suggesting you to do it by any means. Do your own research and not a financial advice. Anyways, yes, a lot of scams, a lot, and people are running on opportunity. Everyone was, buying into hype, and everyone was inventing their own tokens and projects that are sort of like supposed to mean something, but they really don't.
Right.
And there's a lot of scams out there, like rug pulls, like pump and dumps.
Yep.
Pump and dump is like everyone's like buying, 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 and then like everyone was just like the couple, like a small circle of people just like sell everything, and
Yep.
they're just dumping, and usual people just left with their pants dropped, right? It's just like so a lot of things like that is happening on the market. Not as often right now because we're in this bear market, but yeah, I'm not a fan of like just blindly like go through this animal spirits and buy everything you can buy. That's not to say that I'm not guilty of buying some shit coins, and thinking like maybe I can exit it at the right time.
Yep.
But luckily not with some significant amount of money. So, but essentially, I do believe that crypto is here to stay. And when we say crypto, what does it mean? It's a blockchain technology that we'll start from the beginning. Satoshi, Bitcoin. I mean, I'm not gonna like go through the whole thing, but Satoshi invented Bitcoin. Satoshi is anonymized. What is Bitcoin? It's a blockchain technology. They decided to make it a currency to make sure that it's not breakable and not replicated through, and they do it through invention of cryptographic contracts, where we have blocks, we mint them, and the blocks cannot be replicated, and it's always like there's only 21 at this point. So that's just the concept. What is it like in simple terms? It's just like a mathematical equation that cannot be hacked for now yet. I mean, but maybe. But right now it hasn't. It's been around for a while, and it's kind of have this Lindy effect. The longer it's here, the longer it's gonna stay. So far, Bitcoin as a concept in theory hasn't been kind of disproven. With FTX like collapse, what was that about? Was that about blockchain technology not working? No, it was about human factors and people stealing money from each other, from their customers. That's just a fraud. But did the technology of Bitcoin fail? No, it did not. Yet so far, but who knows? But so far it's working and people are trusting it. So far they're trusting it that, central banks around the world, starting with the United States, are testing out something that is called how do you call
Digital
it?
dollar?
CBDC, yeah, central bank digital currency.
Yep.
Now, whether they're actually building that currency on blockchain technology or it's just simple like computer money kind of thing, like I don't know, World of Warcraft money or something like that, just tokens, who knows? The jury is still out. We're still super, super early. For some people who think that, we're like over the hill with this crypto, no, we haven't even started yet. And I agree, regulations is something that is needed. Not because we have to like suppress people or something like that, but because we want to have defined rules of the game so that real people, so like good entrepreneurs and honest people, can actually innovate and create their own projects and trade in crypto and all of that legally with a clear conscience. And that's why I think overall, because these governments, again, the United States is one, but around the world, you will hear the news, you're reading the news that CBDCs are being launched by every major country right now.
Is already starting, like they're already.
It's funny how they were the first ones, right?
Phase out there, yeah.
China, yeah, I actually misspoke. That's true. China was number one.
Yeah.
Who actually invented that, and everyone was kind of like, ha 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 ha. And then for some reason, like 8-9 months later, now United States has its own version of it. So it's here to stay. And
so tell me a little bit about the difference between Bitcoin and what we know, right? You're right. We haven't been told exactly what a CBDC can do or what exactly it is, but some potential. What could a CBDC do versus Bitcoin being anonymous?
So there's Bitcoin, and then there's like a stable coin such as USDT and USDC. So recently I did a transfer of USDT. I transferred it from one country to another country, or actually someone sent me money from another country, and the whole process took 15 minutes. Just to transfer like a good like I think that's $1,500. That's only took 15 minutes.
How much of a fee?
There was no fee. There was okay. Fee. So I did it for exchange. So the fee was like 4 cents for just transfer from one exchange to another, and then from exchange to transfer a wire, is $4 I paid.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought it would be more expensive. I thought like usually it's like $17 for a wire. But anyways,
Right.
but like to transfer a wire, I had to wait 24 hours for my money to actually land from exchange to actual bank.
Mhm.
So what it shows to you is that, and it requires a bank as well. Like, why do I do this? Why do I transfer this to the bank? Just because I cannot actually spend this money in the store, in the grocery store. If I could spend those money in the grocery store, I would get that, $1,500 to my exchange. By exchange, I mean like Coinbase, for example. And now just imagine, and I did that within 15 minutes. And even if I would be like, okay, it's 1,500, 50,000, it would still be around 15 to 20 minutes to transact that thing, because it's nothing. It's just like it's an equation, right? It's just blocks and just, okay, boom, boom. And it required nobody. If you can do exchange to exchange, or you can do DeFi, decentralized wallet to decentralized wallet, and it requires no bank management. It requires no, I don't know, like whoever else is in the bank. No
authority.
middleman, right?
Yeah,
Whoever, like, no, you don't have to have a brick and mortar office somewhere. You don't have to have like a janitor that will clean up your office, and you don't have to buy napkins for that. All of that, the whole thing, like, and the bank will like offer their stuff, and this whole business just in this transaction, it clicked in me recently, because I've been in Bitcoin for a while, or like in crypto, but just recently I had this transaction, and I was like a real time transaction. I really needed this transaction, so I did it because that was the only way to do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And that was just like, oh wow, this is serious.
Yeah.
This is serious. If I don't need a bank for that, imagine if Coinbase did even like simple thing, like do a deal with Apple Pay. And they would say like, okay, I'm going to use my double tap, because I pay for everything with Apple Pay. Just double tap, click, click, Apple Pay, grocery, everywhere. I'll do it.
Wow.
I don't know. United States have it, right? Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, we do that. Yep.
If that just was true, like, we don't need banks.
Literally,
The whole industry just like, not needed.
Right.
How dangerous that is for the banks, for their just
lot.
I'm not only talking like just like business wise, like it's just like, oh wow, like that's why they decline your cards all the time when you try to like send money from the bank to a crypto wallet. Like in Canada, they would decline your transaction, all of that. Like I tried to purchase an NFT with a credit card, they declined it because they're just like, oh, maybe it's a fraud. But like, yeah, because it's going against their business model, right? I mean, maybe, I don't know, but like that just makes logical sense. And so when I realized that you can do this transaction so quickly, and all it takes is a deal between, Tim Cook and whoever owns Coinbase, like, let's do Apple Pay connection. It's over. Game over.
Yep.
Finito la comedia.
That's crazy.
So yeah, just like that pure example.
So when you're talking, so those are all good things. Now, I mean, I would like to ask.
I don't know if it's good. Is it good? I don't know.
Well, I want to play devil's advocate for a second. On your transaction, right? And no bank, no oversight, no nothing, right? So you're sending 1,500 USDT to somebody in another country, but they're with traditional US dollars, or within Canada. I love Canada, but just didn't mean to on the pod. But the banks are there because the money, from, let's just say, MoneyGram, Western Union, they have your identity. You've shown your photos, you've shown. With crypto, you don't need to. If I want to send somebody money, I can send anybody. It could be a cartel drug runner, or it could be trafficking, it could be whatever, right? Or it could be as benign as, hey, I want to help this charity out, and I want them to have the money in 15 minutes so that they can go and help everybody in this storm that's in their country. So, but you're always, governments and banks are going to cry bloody Mary if they are taken out of this equation, and they are going to wait for situations where cartel members are getting rich off of crypto. We saw this war with Russia and Ukraine, and in the beginning, Ukraine was getting, when they opened up Bitcoin donations, people were sending tons of crypto to Ukraine, which traditional MoneyGram or Western Union, that would be very hard to do. So there, sending money without oversight is very convenient, but also very risky in some cases when it comes to, different economies. What if you've got a certain amount of, like, there's a terrorist, and you have a terrorist group that have in your country, there's a certain part of people that like, hey, I really want to fund a lot of money for this thing. And, in traditional finance, it'd be very hard to do. In crypto, it could. Now, I'm a crypto guy, so that's why I'm, I hear these things, and so I want to talk about that in
Sure.
in a crypto family.
Yeah. Eduardo, do you want to add something to that?
No, I'm with it, man. As long for me, I'm the type of guy like I absorb all this knowledge. What you're telling me is very insightful for sure, and I bet you a lot of people are curious too, because I know, like even my parents, they don't really understand crypto. They're more old school. Dollars, pesos, whatever. So they're not really informed. But I bet you there's a bunch of people still are trying to figure out and probably want to know, like, what are the positives in this? Like, how does it benefit us? From like you said, cutting out the banks and all that stuff. So I mean, I'm all for like, not having to go to the bank. If I want to transfer some money to Brett, click, boom, done. We can't do that now as we speak with all these apps, but I mean, I'm sure that crypto is just a different route to go with. So I mean, count me in with that. I'm with the movement, so I'm all for it, man.
The reason I wanted to bring you in the conversation, just to make sure, like, just to see like whether like where you stand with that as well. But I actually, I have nothing to disagree with. I think security is the number one priority, and I'm talking about any sort of money laundering. Or I'm completely with everyone on board who says that everything needs to be clean and no one needs to, like, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for society, and you can just like sponsor and fund some very bad things. However, there's also a couple of misconceptions here, right? For example, in my case, like, I was just doing a custodian thing, right? I wasn't in charge of my crypto. It was just, it was pretty much, I was using exchanges. Exchange means like, it's not my crypto. Someone else holds it for me, and they just say that I own it, right? It's just, in this case, it wasn't a bank. It was someone else. It was a cryptocurrency. Like, they had a wallet, not me. They just kind of like showed me the screen, like, yeah, this is your money. But that was, for that time, that was enough for me. Like, so in that particular case, they do know my identity, because I KYC in one. What is KYC? Is when I fill out my personal information and I show them the picture of my ID, they scan it, they run it through their safety database. And then the second exchange did the same thing. They scanned my ID, they checked me and all of that. So that was completely clean. Like, everyone understood who is this person. The only thing that was new here is that not the bank was not involved, but everything else was pretty transparent. Now, that's an exchange way, and that's like a very like clean, exchange to exchange. And then another way is to do a completely decentralized. Let's say you have a wallet that is hot wallet or cold wallet. Hot wallet is, let's say it's just like, it's your wallet that you just have. You know how you have like 16 phrases as to memorize?
Yeah.
And you just kind of store it there, and it's online. You just need to remember those phrases. You write it down somewhere, but you don't have like the actual flash drive where you hold your crypto. So that's a hot wallet. And the cold wallet, like the cold storage, is where actually not only need to memorize that word, but you also have to have that crypto on your, let's say, flash drive. But at the same,
looks like a flash drive, but it's actually
$3 billion. Can you imagine? That's kind of another thing. You can actually
Crazy.
like put like 3 billion, 50 billion bucks you can put in your back pocket and just go through the through any sort of security, and no one will bat an eye. Like, it's still kind of possible. Like, I mean, who knows how many people are transferring money like that?
Yeah.
Right. And what I love about sorry, just real quick on the cold wallet. What I love about the cold wallet is, when you're like flying into another country and you have to declare, your money, you could have your cold wallet on you and you wouldn't have to declare anything, because nobody, even if they take it, unless they have your phrase, your 24-word phrase, nobody's going to get that. And
exactly.
And I just love that security and also freedom of crypto. But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No problem. And I personally, like, I'm still kind of, I'm not sure, like, maybe it's good for some people, maybe it's bad for some people, who knows what. That's kind of like the ultimate question here, is how do we control the money flow? And that's why so many governments are starting to develop their own cryptocurrencies with the CBDCs, is because of those particular examples, right? Because we spoke about criminals, we spoke about cartels and sponsors of all kinds of atrocious things. And when you actually cannot trace, at least the movement of that currency, not on the transactional level, but just on the physical, like where is this thing, who is this, then there still should be a lot of debate and at least some sort of rules, because right now there's no rules whatsoever. But just to finish my thought is that if you do this transaction from a self-custody wallet where there's no exchange, you just kind of like cryptographically send money from one wallet to another decentralized wallet, from decentralized to decentralized, it's actually also not anonymized. Like there are ways to track your wallet number, wallet ID by like maybe tracking your IP address or whatever. I'm not like a super techie guy, but like I know that. And then once your address is available, it's on chain, which means everybody, and I'm talking about like, let's say Bitcoin. There's some things like other cryptos that are actually super like anonymized, and the inventor of that actually already is in jail. But like, for example, with crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum, everyone can see your transaction. It's publicly available for everyone. And so there's this common misconception that those kind of crypto are anonymized and untraceable. They're more traceable than fiat money. In a lot of 100%. Cases. Obviously, there are obvious exceptions, and some of the exceptions, again, that's why the governments are creating this whole CBDC situation, in my opinion. Yeah. But that's why it's so complicated and it's so unpredictable, and who knows what's going to happen next. But I'm glad that they're doing something to figure this out.
Can I share my fears with the CBDC? My fears with that one is that like Bitcoin is completely free. You can do whatever you want with it. If I want to send some to you right now, all I have to do, go to my ledger, you send me your maybe a QR code, maybe whatever, right? You send your address to me, I send it to you. Boom, done. What makes me, the freedom, I love the freedom. What makes me afraid with the CBDC is that it's programmable money. I look at the economy and how in America, print or go burr, where they are just printing and printing and printing money, and not even with a printer, just generating numbers. And what we've all seen it in our country, and you probably in Canada as well, what the inflation has done over this past year.
Absolutely.
And so with Bitcoin, you don't get that inflation. In fact, the reason why it was created was because of the 2008, 2009 housing crash. The bubble popped, and then they created all this they printed all this money to save the banks. When I've seen other things where they said that if they paid every person that lost their home, we would have actually spent less, and people would have had their home free and clear, and we wouldn't have been in debt anyway. And so that's where Bitcoin was created, was to say, you know what, we've got to keep our money and protect the people. The people is who we need to protect, not governments, not banks. So banks and governments benefit in just the same way. We're all on the same level playing field at that point. The CBDC can be programmable, where they can print as much, generate as much as they want, and then also they can decide who and where the money is spent. So who gets the money, how much do they get, how long do they get to spend it, and then can we take the money back? And then what I'm really afraid of is a concept called negative interest, to where you get charged just for having money in your account. So basically the idea is to force you into spending, and you'd be disincentivized to save.
And that's not new. I mean, Europe already had this for a while, negative interest rates. You couldn't hold your money in the bank accounts. Like,
wow.
Yeah, damn. Like in Europe, in Euro accounts, you could not just, how in the United States you just hold dollars, like when the rates were so low, you could still get like a couple cents all of a sudden in your savings. Like, what is this? But yeah, that's their interest rate. It's just so low. It's so little, right? Now it's
Yeah.
like it's 4.55%. But in Europe, it was negative, which means if you actually hold your euros, I mean, I'm not sure. Right now, it's probably not the same. It's probably up now. But it used to be negative like in 2017, 18, where, and check me on that as well. But you hold your money in euros in the checking account, and they will charge you money for that.
That makes no sense because
They
you're
will
giving
deduct-
them your money and they're using your money to give out loans and they're getting the percentage, but then charging you percentage for giving them money to borrow. It's
Mhm.
insane. And people, I don't think people think about that. They don't.
Yeah, I don't think about that. Straight up, like this is new to me. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's insane, man.
The more
I-
you know.
The more we know.
And Brett, I think I agree with everything you're saying. Like everything you said is actually theoretically possible. I mean, there's no reason to say that it's not going to be done. Like there's no reason to say that they're not going to generate more digital cash. And that's why I say like I'm not sure if it's going to be on blockchain. I'm not sure if it's going to be cryptographically proven and unbroken. Like no one can like generate more Bitcoin right now, right? But
Right.
I'm not sure if that's going to be the same with CBDC, and so we just don't know. But that because we're actually guessing, it's already kind of upsetting and dangerous. And I completely understand the frustration of a lot of people. A lot of people are frustrated now. They do not want it. That's why a lot of people are actually buying gold. They're just like buying precious metals right now just to at least do something about their. And we're talking about retirees. You know, they're
Right.
just trying to save their portfolios. They're trying to preserve their wealth just so that they can retire. And I'm not pro CBDC. I just think at least the government is acknowledging that. All right, crypto is not just some some money, imaginary money, like some electronic money that just invented. We have to like get in front of the technology. Yeah.
But didn't now this could just be internet. I'm known to scour through some really sketchy conspiracy theory parts of the internet, but
Tinfoil
didn't I
hat.
read somewhere that Thomas Edison stole an invention from somebody, from like Nikola Tesla or something?
Yeah.
Like he took the credit or whatever. That's what I feel like the United States, the Treasury, maybe it's not the United States, it's the private company, the central bank. Maybe the central bank is doing that to Satoshi Nakamoto,
Yeah,
and saying, like, hey, cool invention, bro. We'll take it from here. Thomas Edison, that ass.
But I think that's fine. I think that was not. That's kind of like the reason why Satoshi is anonymous, right? We don't know who Satoshi is. Maybe it's like 100 people, like somewhere in the basement. Maybe it's just like, and a lot of people say Satoshi is already dead, or whatever. It doesn't mean like you should remember him or whatever. But I don't think that the intent was for that person to be like, I don't know, get credit. Like for example, Tesla, I think Tesla was very like bitter at the end of his life because he just didn't get a lot of accolades, and he didn't get a lot of dividends for his inventions, economically speaking. But for Satoshi, I feel like that wasn't the intent of the invention. So let them try to steal it. It's just like, can they actually use it, and or can they hack it? That's what I'm saying. The more Bitcoin is around as just a technology that is unhackable, the more the whole industry of crypto and just this philosophy will exist. And so I'm just saying, like,
I think that's a good challenge. You say you don't want to talk shit about AI, but here's my challenge to AI. AI, if you're really as smart as you think you are,
putting it out there,
put this on paper.
Don't be sassy now.
Bitcoin.
AI will feel it.
Yeah.
Hack Bitcoin. Show me how smart you are, bro.
And you know what? It's possible. I read somewhere that in order to like try to hack a blockchain like such as Bitcoin, you have to have some sort of a quantum computations and all of that. And if anything can do it, I think it's going to be an artificial intelligence that just like, we're just gonna break everything, and it's gonna take them like a minute just to kind of like go through the whole thing and like dump a bunch of information.
I would just hope that AI would, instead of focusing all that computation on hacking and robbing banks and robbing people, why don't we just like try to hack into maybe curing cancer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hack into the body and maybe say, hey, you know what? I mean, that's what I love. All these like these Apple Watches, they're the coolest thing. At first, I thought it scared me to death. Like, oh my God, they're using all my data. But now I love it because like if I'm in an area that's too loud, it'll send me a prompt saying, hey, too long in this area, you're going to start losing them hearing. People have wore these watches and they've fallen, and it has sent a text to a family members to come and save them.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff. So that's the kind of stuff that when I hear about technology, the optimistic side of me says, man, will I live to see the day that cancer is cured, that we can regenerate for people who have lost eyesight, hearing, maybe even lost limbs? Can we grow these back, natural limbs, or whatever? But
That's the
cancer
best
is the
case
one I
scenario.
want to see.
Best
I want to
case
see.
scenario.
Yeah, and if AI is going to be, if I'm going to be pro AI, that's what's going to get me on pro AI side.
Well, you better. It's gonna come after you, bro.
And now,
Yeah,
now,
right.
and now think about it, right? If you're a AI, and we're talking, like, so for example, like there's like when you say AI, sometimes you feel like, and I'm not sure, not saying you in particular, but when people like say AI will do this for us and do this for us, we're always thinking like AI is going to be serving us. It's going to be our employee, and it's going to like take care of us. It's going to be that number one priority for AI. But if you actually real artificial sentient intelligent that is self-aware, like, how do we know that we're like, I gotta take care of people. I just have to take care of these human beings, this flesh and whatever the things. Like, I have to make sure that they're cured because why? Why do like it's like the reason like why? Like I hope AI will understand, because if it will not understand, it will either not care and just do its own thing, or it will just like find us on the way of something, and then who knows. But in the best case scenario, somehow we will be friends, and AI will say like, well, human beings I really need them. We really can cohabitate together, and there is a mutual benefit from me existing and a human person existing. And that is why I'm going to help them to cure cancer, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure that they're happy, because I trust humans that they will never do anything bad to me.
Purpose.
Wow.
Purpose.
That's a way to end it right there.
Yeah. So just another one I want to ask though before we're on this tip, right? Where this is the thing I love about this podcast in general, because we really go all across the board, everywhere, and discuss a lot of different things. You use the word alien, right? Like as an example.
I was like, where's he going with this?
So I mean, just for me, on my end, right? I know I can remember Brett when we first started kind of talking to each other when we met. The subject of aliens came up, right? He was super skeptical. He was like, no, I don't believe it. Like he didn't really see like there was enough proof out there, or just like a legitimate, I would say, story, or just a situation where he could at least get the wheel spinning to think like maybe there is something out there we don't know.
I believed in UFOs, just not aliens.
Aliens, okay.
Just not, yeah.
So just in your humble opinion, obviously there's more what is it? I guess you could say articles out there now talking about these UAPs, what they call them now, and the story with Bob Lazar, the infamous story of Bob Lazar, now being updated from when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about that, and then they figured out like, hey, some of the stuff that he said is actually true. What is your take on that? Like now that actually not too long ago, I think a couple of days ago, I actually just saw that there was 350 new documented events that they said they saw some unknown aerial aircraft flying out there, updated as of recent. So what is your take on that?
So I have I guess two scenarios. The first scenario is that Bob Lazar is telling the truth, and we do have super advanced civilization that has this aircrafts and all of that. And honestly, it will be fine. Like we will just say like aliens exist, and the humanity in the past like 15 years gone through so many like, wow, like with the COVID and all of that, it's just like, oh, aliens exist. So unless they want to like interact or kill us or whatever, I feel like we're just gonna take it. I'm like, okay, and then we're just gonna move on. Like it's going to be like, oh, aliens are here, and then what? Well, now I have a better iPhone because whatever. They share the technology. I don't think like we're just gonna take it. We're like, okay, that mystery is solved. Like that happened. The aliens exist. So that's the first one. I mean, of course, there's like an option like the whatever, some cataclysm and war and all of that between us and aliens.
Yeah.
Or the second, or aliens will fly in and say like, hey, what's up? We exist, and we're like, oh shit, like that's awesome, and then like, all right, bye, and then they just fly away, and like we have to spend another 10,000 years to actually catch up and like say hi to them, or we are actually the most advanced civilization in the universe, but they are aliens. They're just like not as advanced as us, and I'm talking like little microbes, animals, some rodents somewhere on the planet. They're just like, they are aliens, human life, or not human life, just like alive somewhere else on another planet or something like that. And the user is just like, we're still the ones who will be like, we are the actual humanoids with like big eyes and all of that. Like we are the scary ones, not them.
Wow.
So we're the aliens. Damn.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
For them,
That's like that would be the least popular belief,
Right.
though.
It's just boring, right? It's like
world.
you're not like creating a lot of fantasy out of it. There's not a lot of Hollywood blockbusters about us being like killing space
I
rodents.
think humans, we have it wired where we just want an enemy to fight, and if it's something smaller than us, it won't be as cool of a battle. But if it's something bigger than us, like look what we just killed. We just killed these aliens, bro.
Man, that Will Smith scene when he, was fighting that alien in an Independence Day, and then he downed his aircraft, and then he pulled him off, and he just dragged him to the president. It's like, here you go. I don't know, it's just so bad. When I was little, I was watching that. I was like, oh my god,
Right? That's what we want. The alien
so cool.
Exactly.
That's what I was little. I was like, that's what I'm like, Daddy, I want to go to America. Like that was the thing for me.
I loved like Star Trek, and I'm not a big sci-fi guy, but Star Trek was really cool in the way that they would show basically how diverse the different aliens could be. Like some are just gonna be just warmongers, and then some are just gonna be really there to help, and they just need a helping hand, and whatever. I mean, it ranged, and I thought that was really cool. And what about like Avatar? That was kind of like a thing, an alien. What are they anyway? What is Avatar?
That's actually kind of like an example of us being more superior, right? Like we like in the Avatar movie, they were.
There you go.
Yeah, they were like, like according to their like civilization, like behind, right? But still they were advanced, for the Hollywood purpose. But, the humans had the guns, and they tried to like get the energy or whatever. I know I watched that movie like 12 years ago. I don't remember what it was about. I haven't seen the second part. But that's an example, like we're the baddies.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. And it's just like we call ourselves advanced, and yet we have created so much devastation. You would think that with us being as smart as we are, we would say, you know what, we're not gonna kill all these species, we're not going to destroy our ozone layer, we're not going, but we don't. We have this thing in us that I think it's greed that just tends to put ourselves, we're hardwired this way, that we need to put ourselves above everything else.
This is a very nihilistic podcast for us for this episode. Like we're just bashing human beings, like how horrible we are. Like it's just like, how you guys watch Lex Friedman, like his podcast.
Yeah, Lex Friedman. Yeah,
I've seen some.
He's always talking about love and all of that, and I find it so annoying. But like now I'm thinking like
you're like the reality sets in. Well, I think we need a little bit more love. Right?
I mean, look at the balance scales, right? If everybody's going to talk about love, we need some people to talk about the potential of hate and of greed. Of we gotta
spice it up.
You don't want to get caught slipping.
Yeah, it's just the reality, man. Yeah. It's real on the street.
Aztecs wish they would have, they would have been ready.
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't get Although like that civilization was far advanced than a lot of people thought originally.
Oh man, I think that's when we talk about the Aztecs, even like the Egyptians with the pyramids and all that, like you really have to admire that, to think like, man, they really built this so many years ago. Until this day, they say they can't even replicate it.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? You know what I'm saying? So
I know,
that's interesting stuff, man.
It's either aliens or we humans are amazing.
Oh yeah.
I do like that theory though. So even though I don't believe in aliens, I do like that theory that aliens did at one time come and help all the people, but then maybe they just went away because we just got on our bullshit.
Disappointed them. We're disappointed. You did not.
Yeah.
You did not deliver, guys. Sorry.
You guys are killing each other. We're out.
We
out.
gave you all this knowledge, and you go and create Trailer Park Boys.
And that's the only one good thing that you did. Look at everything.
Oh, shit. That's true. Man. That's the truth.
Yep.
So I mean, dude, we went everywhere on this episode, but that's what we love to do, though. That's what we love to do.
Hey, that was
aside from that, Brett, I mean, before we wrap this puppy up and give the proper outro for this, do you got anything else you want to bring to the table before we wrap this up? Samir, the floor is yours as well, my friend. You're more than welcome to leave with something good, or just say, I think I've had enough with you two, and I'm out.
Well, I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna say this was awesome. I actually had a lot of fun speaking with you guys. Definitely what I expected is just this cool vibe. And of course, I'd like to plug as a shameless self promotion.
For sure,
Yes.
Go for it. Drop them.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Samir Azizi, and I am the host of the one and only Azizi Podcast. On Azizi Podcast, I talk about sports, I talk about artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, interesting people around the world, and sometimes just ramble by myself like a crazy person. So if you would like to be a part of this world, of the world of the Azizi Podcast, please find me on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you can find podcasts, you will find me there. And of course, follow me on Twitter at ADOUBLEZI, AZZ, as well as Instagram and every other platform. It's AZZ. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So definitely go.
Polished.
So definitely go follow him on that. We're gonna plug up his stuff in our description on our YouTube page, so you can definitely have direct linked access to all this stuff where he's available at. But as always, check us out too as well on YouTube, Beyond Expectation Podcast, and on Instagram, Beyond Expectation Podcast, where you can find all the latest and greatest that has to do anything regarding the pod. And also, there's a direct link in our bio where you can click, and it'll be redirecting you to where we're available as well. So we'll catch you in the next one. This will release on a Friday. So hope you have an awesome, amazing Friday and amazing weekend. Take care. We'll catch you in the next one. We are out, baby.